In this video, I'm going to show you how we take drums from this to get them nice and crunchy like this. So in this video, I'm going to teach you, or I'm going to show you, not really going to teach you, I'm going to show you how I get my drums super gritty. I get lots of people asking me what techniques I use and whatnot, and it is really simple. But I love the technique, and hopefully if you enjoy the video, you can maybe see how you can use the same technique in your studio with your equipment. So the first time I used this, first time I worked it out was with one of my friends. We were talking about a group called Paranoid London, and he was like, yeah, I really love him. And he showed me how he got the drum sound. And for that, he used an MS-20. And at the time, I didn't have an MS-20. You can see kind of in the back here, I got an MS-20 now. But at the time, I didn't have one. But I had one of the Korg Monotrons, which has the same filter in it. So I thought, hey, I could give this a go. And I was really happy with the results. So for this, all I'm using is, you can see I've got the to and from, and I've got the signal going, well, not yet, but it will be from Logic out of my interface, and I've just got it into a patch bay, and then through the Monotron, and then back in again. And let me show you how I have my session set up. So if you saw the 303 video, you can see that this is still the same session. Same drums and everything like that. So what we're doing is we are parallel processing the sound. So we're going to have the sound, we're going to have our original sound plus the added Monotron sound. And I find this is really good because it really helps when it comes to mixing, that you don't have these blown out drums and drums that are just like super distorted. You can kind of dial it in a little bit better, and you still keep the weight of the drums, especially like the kick drum and stuff like that. When I've used distortions and whatnot on kick drums, I find that they just disintegrate. So yeah, so you can see here we have our drums, and then I have just set up a little bus for parallel parallel processing. And let's go in, open up the mixer, and then we're going to select the drums that we want to send to it. Actually, let's select all of them, and then from here we are going to send this to the bus. So this is the same as with Ableton when you open up the brand new session and you have the reverb and delay send and return. So I'm just setting up a send like this, and we've got 0 signal going to it. And then on the actual bus, I'm going to add a IO plugin. We're going to keep it mono because the Monotron is a mono signal. And I know this is like, this is super boring. Just let me hear with the sound. So from here, we're going to send. I'm going to go out 3, just because that's what I have it on my patch bay, and then we're going to come back in on 3. And you can hear that sound. So if you can hear when I play the Monotron, it's actually playing through, and you can hear that little noise in the background there. So what we want to do is we want to account for the latency of the round trip latency to go out the Monotron and in the Monotron again. So let's do a little ping. It sends a little click. You'll hear it now. And then it's about 26 seconds. So let's do this, 26. And now roughly we've accounted for the latency. What we can do is we can start, I'll play the drums, and then we can start to add different parts in for flavor. So you can kind of go crazy, or you can just have a little bit on top. Obviously you don't need to also send all the drums. And as you can see here, this the meter here, as I start to add the signal, and then we'll just solid just this. You can hear that, we can add some more to it. And then the controls on the Monotron are super basic. So we just have, all we're using on this is the cutoff and the resonance. So if we, what I like to do is add a little bit of resonance. Kind of makes it a little punchier. And then kind of find that sweet spot on the filter. And we can add them, all the drums back in now. And you can hear there is a little bit of phasing, but we can account for that when we record the audio in. So let's add some ride. We kind of get to that little, maybe add a little bit more of the kick. That's on its own, and that's with everything going. And I also like the little bit of noise in the background there. Obviously this isn't if you want super clean drums with a bit of distortion. This is if you want that super gritty sort of sound. So from there, we've got our little drum sound. So as I'm making the track, I will leave this I'll leave the Monotron on, and I'll just add drums and kind of play around with the arrangement and whatnot and sort of get everything dialed in. And then from there, what I'll do is once I'm happy, once the arrangement's sort of fleshed out and everything like that, is when I'll go in and record it in. So you can see here, I've already added this little send here. So I'm sending the full signal, this full drum para signal to another bus, and I just chose 21 because it was the next one in line. And then I have an audio track which I'm looking for the input from bus 21, so that's just a distorted track. I've got it kept muted because we don't want to double up on the track. Let's record it in. You can see the signal coming in there. We're happy with that. We can now mute that or unmute the audio that we just recorded in. Okay, now so we've recorded in our audio file, and that's going to be for the entire length of the track. So you kind of get the feel without the drum, without the kick drum and bits and pieces, and you'll just have the whole thing there. From here, we want to, you can see, even though we allowed for that latency, you can see that there's still a little bit of discrepancy between the two. So what I like to do is kind of go down about halfway. We'll boost up this is just making the waveforms bigger. And then what I try and do is just match these waveforms nicely. Give it a play. And you can hear there, sounding pretty good. We mute it. Here it's pretty, the drums sound good, but they could do with a bit more work. And now it has that sort of crunchiness behind it. I will say I have some other cool pieces of kit. I have the analog heat from Electron, which I love, but I always just find that this is super easy to use. I get really good results, and I don't have to kind of think about it too much, and I can keep moving through with songs. So hopefully you got something out of it, and you got to see a different way to process drums. These I haven't tried with the Monotron 2, but the Monotron 2 is about $30. So if you have a sound card that you can patch in and out of, and you can send some audio to it, have a go. Maybe try some synths, maybe try some other bits and pieces. Don't discount these as a toy. I use it all the time and I love it. So hopefully this has inspired you to create something today. And until next time, see you later.